Some of these pastors claimed they were chosen by God, but what they did with that power: jets, Bentleys, and bank-breaking birthday parties. One even said, "I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting in my private jet." These are times black pastors used God to buy jets, the most expensive cars one could buy, and many more things that will make you wonder if they're really pastors or just scammers. Number 10. Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, Ghana. He's called Papa by his followers, but Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams is not your average pastor. He's one of the most influential religious leaders in West Africa, and also one of the most flamboyant. The founder of Action Chapel International in Accra, Ghana, Duncan Williams has built a spiritual empire that stretches across continents. But alongside his sermons, there's something else that's caught the attention of the public: his love for luxury, especially when it comes to flying. In a now viral interview, he boldly declared, "Owning a private jet is not a problem. However, how you get it, what you do with it, are the two things one would be judged for." That wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a full-on defense of wealth in the pulpit. To Duncan Williams, financial prosperity is not a contradiction to Christian values. It's a confirmation of them. And when it comes to using the pulpit to justify prosperity, he doesn't hold back. Over the years, there have been multiple reports and visual evidence suggesting that Duncan Williams charters private jets to attend conferences and spiritual events. Videos and Facebook live streams have captured the Archbishop stepping off private aircraft and arriving at events with all the fanfare of a political dignitary. When critics raised eyebrows, he doubled down. In his words, "If someone wants to buy 10 private jets and they're tithing and giving, why should that bother me?" His followers see him as an example of what happens when divine favor meets discipline and prayer. His critics, however, argue that faith was never meant to be this flashy. Either way, there's no denying that Duncan Williams has mastered the art of blending spirituality with celebrity energy. From his designer suits to his global reach, everything about his ministry radiates power. And yes, prosperity. And just when you think you've seen it all, the list is only getting started. Because number 9, he says his Lamborghini isn't a flex, it's a prophecy. Number 9. Passion Java, Zimbabwe. Meet Panganai, Passion Java, who doesn't just preach prosperity, he lives in it like a mansion on wheels. From the streets of Harare to viral clips on Instagram, Java has become a modern prophet wrapped in designer fabric, riding in turbocharged blessings. Known to his loyal followers as Prophet Passion, he's built a name that straddles spirituality and celebrity, where sermons are entertainment and every blessing comes with a price tag. This self-proclaimed man of God has turned heads not just for his dramatic prophecies, but for his jaw-dropping purchases. He once reportedly dropped $500,000 on a pair of Range Rover Vogues and a Jaguar XJ. That alone would raise eyebrows for most pastors. But for Java, that was just the beginning. On his birthday, he gifted himself a sleek black Maybach. His caption, "Not look what I bought, but look what God gave me." It wasn't a flex, it was a spiritual endorsement, at least according to him. Social media became his pulpit, and Java knew exactly how to work it. He's been seen stepping out of Lamborghinis, flanked by armed security, his face lit by camera flashes and fan hysteria. In one viral moment, he ran up a bar tab worth over 85,000 South African rand in a single night, laughing it off like a casual expense. His followers didn't flinch. Instead, many praised him as a man too blessed to stress. And that's the twist. To his followers, the extravagance isn't offensive, it's inspiring, a living, breathing testimony of divine wealth. When critics question how a pastor can justify such excessive spending, Java has a ready answer. He says he's not just blessed, he's chosen. In his view, every luxury car, every custom suit, every gold-trimmed hotel suite is a prophetic signal to the world that God doesn't want you poor. His entire life is his sermon. The mansion is the message. And in an era of social media prophets, Java is a master of the algorithm. He's launched gospel TV channels, organized massive stadium concerts, and branded himself as both miracle worker and millionaire. But not everyone buys it. Whispers of political ties, misused church funds, and money laundering scandals follow him like a shadow. Still, he dances through the noise, unfazed. His message remains the same. When you sow your seed, you too can drive like destiny. And if you think Passion Java is where the luxury ends, think again. Because number 8 on this list didn't stop at Lambos and bar tabs. He went all in with multiple private jets and a pulpit big enough to touch the sky. Number 8. Apostle Johnson Suleiman, Nigeria. Apostle Johnson Suleiman doesn't just fly, he soars. The fiery general overseer of Omega Fire Ministries International in Auchi, Nigeria, casually revealed that he bought his 3rd private jet during the COVID-19 pandemic, while the world was in lockdown and millions were losing their jobs. He said, "I bought my 3rd jet. I have 3, adding chillingly, "I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting."
In the man of God, there are strange things that in COVID, I bought a jet. In COVID. The third, I have 3. The third one, in COVID. I was praying for COVID not to end because I was resting.
Less than a year before, Suleiman had exhorted believers that wealth isn't measured by private jets or cars, urging instead that true success is measured by lives touched. Yet before long, he became a poster child for precisely what he cautioned against. In April 2019, his church members cheered as Suleiman unveiled his new private jet, accompanied by glossy social media videos praising the acquisition as a divine tool for gospel outreach. The contradictions keep piling up. In 2016, he had warned that a private jet gifted to him had impure origins, and he rejected it outright. But when it came to buying one himself, he treated the purchase as a strategic ministry move. To some, this hypocrisy smells like enforcement of spiritual celebrity, branding God's favor as a line item on a luxury spreadsheet. Critics have seethed that while his congregation suffers economic hardship, Suleiman's plane flies above it all. Blog posts and Christian commentators questioned whether owning such excess had anything to do with ministry or everything to do with marketing. But Suleiman's charm lies in the performance. He frames the wealth as spiritual multiplication, his own money printing machine. In one interview, he joked, "When you speak in tongues, you're printing money," as if revenue streams emerge directly from holy utterances. His Venezuela-style faith theatrics, he preaches restoration by fire and miracle offerings, further cement his image as more prophet than pauper. Number 7. Bishop Hezekiah Walker, USA. Hezekiah Walker is more than a gospel legend. He's a brand. A Grammy-winning choir director, celebrated pastor, real estate mogul, and fashion-forward spiritual leader, he has redefined what it means to run a ministry in the age of celebrity. His church, Love Fellowship Tabernacle in Brooklyn, is more than a sanctuary. It's a launchpad for global influence and business ventures, all under the banner of faith. Walker's estimated net worth stands around $8 million, built not just from sermons, but from a sprawling empire that includes best-selling albums, worldwide speaking engagements, and a multi-million-dollar real estate project. In Brooklyn, he spearheaded the $80 million Hez House Apartments development, bringing affordable housing to the borough while demonstrating that the gospel can coexist with groundbreaking investment strategies. To many, this move was both a blessing and a flex, a powerful statement that prosperity can wear a collar. What sets Hezekiah apart is the image he's carefully curated over the years. He doesn't walk into rooms quietly. He enters in designer suits, often backed by gospel royalty and hip-hop celebrities alike. Known as the hip-hop pastor, Walker's services have drawn stars like Diddy, Lil Kim, and Kanye West. His choirs are massive, his performances are theatrical, and his message is loud. God doesn't want you broke. While he may not be flashing a private jet like others on this list, the lifestyle is no less extravagant. His ministry stretches across the US and South Africa, with frequent travel and branded conferences that look more like red carpet events than Sunday service. Public footage and social media snaps have captured him boarding chartered flights, traveling in luxury, and showing up at global gospel summits with the confidence of a mogul. There's no confirmed jet ownership, but the energy is unmistakably first class. Hezekiah has never apologized for his success. When critics question whether such grandeur belongs in the pulpit, he responds by doubling down. He believes that his reach, his music, his properties, all of it is part of a larger divine assignment. For him, modesty isn't the goal, impact is. He teaches that faith isn't just spiritual, it's strategic. And in that strategy, wealth isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to be stewarded boldly. So while Hezekiah Walker may not have the most shocking headlines, his calculated blend of ministry, music, real estate, and fashion earns him a firm place on this list. Because when a pastor builds housing complexes, sells platinum albums, hosts celebrity worship nights, and still leads a congregation every Sunday, you're not just looking at a preacher, you're looking at an enterprise. And next, the list gets darker. Number 6 didn't build a brand, he built a spectacle. And his miracle involved bug spray. Number 6. Prophet Jeremiah Omoto Fufeyin, Nigeria. Prophet Jeremiah Omoto Fufeyin is the founder of Christ Mercyland Deliverance Ministry in Warri, Delta State. Known for his high-octane deliverance services and bold public displays of charity, he also firmly occupies space in the luxury league most pastors only whisper about. Born on February 15, 1971, Fufeyin has built his ministry into a multi-billion naira operation. Followers refer to him as Owomowomo. He's deeply entrepreneurial, running businesses from fish farms to a hotel next to his church, alongside massive church infrastructure and media operations. His estimated net worth hovers around $30 to $40 million USD from assorted ventures, ministries, hospitality, and land investments. What truly seals his spot at number 6 is his private jet. In 2018, reports confirmed he acquired a Bombardier Challenger 601 3R-capable aircraft, valued at approximately $3 million. He defended the purchase publicly, claiming that long ministerial travel and cramped commercial cabins impeded his work. "Sometimes my schedules are tight," he said. "With a private jet, it's more convenient. The jet we used yesterday was sent by one of my sons. That's not all." Documentation from Gospel Media and Linda Ikeji's blog showed Fufeyin disembarking from private aircraft, alongside fellow pastors like Shepherd Bushiri and others en route to crusades in Port Harcourt and Abuja. His fleet extends beyond the jet. He reportedly owns multiple luxury vehicles, including G-Wagon Mercedes, Land Cruisers, and custom-plated SUVs emblazoned with his nickname. In one viral image segment, he gifted Nollywood actresses 6 million naira cars along with cash, declaring it spiritual sowing in action. Despite its extravagance, Fufeyin insists that such luxury is justified ministry expense, not ego. He claims every purchase, even the jet, is a tool for spiritual deliverance and gospel efficiency. His critics argue the purchases signal something more, a prosperity narrative that preaches divine provision to broke congregations while the pastor flies above in private airliners. His public persona blends generosity and flash, returning $300 million in tithes during COVID-19, making big donations and pushing miracle products like soap and mustard seeds, even while embroiled in defamation lawsuits over their legitimacy. While some pastors mask luxury, Fufeyin flaunts it as divine appointment. From jet runways to gospel platforms, he frames each high-end purchase as evidence of modern-day miracles, tools, he says, not indulgences. Number 5. Joshua Iginla, Nigeria. He's known as Brother Joshua, the prophetic voice behind Champions Royal Assembly, headquartered in Abuja, Nigeria. It's not a modest operation. His church reportedly seats more than 80,000 people, and his sermons echo across continents. But what really set tongues wagging was his 2019 birthday gift to himself, or rather, to his ministry. That year, Apostle Joshua Iginla unveiled a multi-billion naira private jet to the thunderous applause of his congregation. Not a rented plane, not a chartered one, a fully purchased jet, branded as a divine necessity. Iginla framed it as a spiritual investment. He insisted the jet wasn't for personal comfort, but for carrying the gospel to every corner of the world. According to him, commercial travel was no longer viable for a man with his global preaching obligations. His ministry needed speed, reach, control, and apparently, the only way to achieve that was through the luxury and autonomy of private aviation. As news of the purchase spread, so did the controversy. Photos of the sleek aircraft surfaced online. Congratulatory messages flooded in from admirers and partners in faith. But so did criticism. Many Nigerians questioned how a man of God, funded by tithes and offerings, could justify such an extravagant acquisition. Others wondered how a church that once taught humility could now align itself with symbols of billionaire wealth. Yet, Iginla remained unbothered. He didn't dodge the optics. In fact, he embraced them. In his view, opulence was not the enemy of faith, it was evidence of it. He told critics that their opinions didn't matter when God himself had cleared the path. He even pointed out that men of God deserve the best tools to fulfill divine assignments. And if that meant a jet, so be it. The message was loud and clear. Spiritual elevation deserved physical elevation too. Iginla's supporters believe the jet is a fulfillment of prophetic destiny. His global crusades continue to grow. He travels frequently to the United States, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. The jet, they say, helps him get there faster, carrying the word, the anointing, and the proof that God blesses his own. Still, to many observers, it's hard not to see the contradictions. Can a preacher of sacrifice own a multi-million-dollar jet and still speak for the poor? Can a man of God ride in ultimate luxury and still ask for donations from those who live with less than $1 a day? Whether you believe the jet is a heavenly tool or a worldly trophy, Joshua Iginla has made one thing certain: he's not flying economy, and neither, he believes, should God's messengers. If you thought that was outrageous, just wait until you hear about number 6. This next pastor didn't stop at jets. He built a portfolio of exotic cars, million-dollar properties, and claims that wealth is the ultimate evidence of holiness. You ready for that? Number 4. Bishop Eddie Long, USA. Bishop Eddie Long rose to fame as the senior pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Lithonia, Georgia, expanding his congregation from a few hundred in the 1980s to over 25,000 worshipers at its peak. Under his charismatic leadership, he built an empire that included best-selling books, international ministries, and a high-profile celebrity following. His estimated net worth was around $5 million. But what he owned confirmed something far beyond that modest figure. Between 1997 and 2000, Eddie Long received more than $3.07 million in compensation and benefits from his separate nonprofit, Bishop Eddie Long Ministries, Inc. That year alone, that benefit package included a $1.4 million 6-bedroom home on 20 wooded acres and a $350,000 Bentley, both used as ministry tools, he said. While no single headline labeled him a jet owner, reports show he often traveled privately, blending pulpits and glamour in equal measure. Long promoted himself as a fixer of broken masculinity, preaching books like 60 Seconds to Greatness and waving grand visions of personal transformation. In turn, many affluent donors and celebrities flocked to his pulpit, deepening his financial clout. He flew on private charters, stayed at luxury resorts, and hosted services that felt more like gala performances than quiet prayer meetings. But behind the reputation was controversy. In 2010, 4 young men who were part of his mentorship program accused him of sexual coercion, claiming they were given cars, electronics, and overseas trips in exchange for sexual favors. Long denied the allegations, swiftly settling out of court in 2011. He insisted every gift was spiritual and that the accusations were motivated by money, not redemption. Senate investigators scrutinized Long's ministry finances, especially given its tax-exempt status. After a multi-year review, the committees confirmed that no definitive wrongdoing had occurred, leaving many critics accusing that the wealthy lifestyle of spiritual leaders like Long went unchallenged. Yet the financial optics remained jarring. A pastor preaching prosperity to communities struggling financially was himself living in a mansion and driving luxury cars. To supporters, that lifestyle was divine validation of spiritual overflow. To critics, it was an unsettling display of unchecked wealth built on congregational devotion. In many ways, Eddie Long didn't just preach prosperity, he embodied it. While he never flaunted a private jet like others on this list, the Bentley, mansion, and lavish travel captured the same message. Faith isn't enough unless it looks expensive. Divinity, in his view, should cost something, and quite a bit at that. Number 3. Dr. Juanita Bynum, USA. Dr. Juanita Bynum has been a household name in Black televangelism for decades. A Grammy-nominated gospel singer, best-selling author, and high-profile minister, she rose to fame with her No More Sheets series and the Woman Thou Art Loosed conferences. As of now, public records estimate her net worth at around $10 million, and while she isn't in headlines for jets or yachts, her luxury lifestyle still earned her a spot on this list. Despite limited public evidence of private jet ownership, there are telling signals that she traveled and dressed at first-class level. In media interviews and social media mentions, followers have repeatedly called her life royalty level, with expansive wardrobe, designer fashion, and private travel assumed by critics. One recent exposé noted her lavish appearances and habits meant that life of unimaginable luxury is a phrase some journalists didn't hesitate to use. In 2020, Bynum was arrested on civil charges in Dallas related to a defaulted performance contract, owing over $140,000 to ALW Entertainment. While that speaks to financial mismanagement, it also underscores the scale of her revenues, a woman operating far above normal budgets. Perhaps most tellingly, online whispers and megachurch rumor mills report she once charged $1,499 for access to a prayer kit or life coaching event ticket, positioning herself in the stratosphere of high-ticket spirituality. Critics argue that this is more than ministry, it's monetizing divine access, a hallmark of prosperity preaching cloaked as prestige. Bynum's brand extends beyond sermons. Her publishing empire includes best-selling devotionals, theology guides, and merchandise. She launched Juanita Bynum Enterprises, which reportedly handles speaking fees, coaching programs, albums, and media distribution. Conservative estimates place her annual earnings in the multiple millions, enough to fund personal jets or luxury travel even if not openly disclosed. To supporters, Juanita's opulence is evidence of divine breakthrough and spiritual empowerment. Her conferences sell out, her books top charts, her sermons resonate in diaspora communities seeking bigger faith and bigger life. To critics, however, Bynum turned grace into grandstanding. Evidence of lavish spending, exclusive pricing, and luxurious living raises questions. When a pastor charges thousands for faith tools, where does the line between ministry and merchandising blur? In an industry accused of teaching prosperity as product, Bynum is both pioneer and high-stakes case study. Number 2. Bishop I.V. Hilliard, USA. Bishop I.V. Hilliard, founder of New Light Christian Center in Houston, Texas, isn't shy about mixing ministry with mechanics. In 2013, he made headlines after sending a fundraiser letter requesting $52 favor seeds from his congregation, claiming that a helicopter blade upgrade would save the church $50,000 in long-term costs. He pitched it as a spiritual breakthrough opportunity. Sow a $52 transportation seed and receive breakthrough favor in 52 days or 52 weeks. The church justified the pitch by saying its aviation department had been active since 1995 and that the helicopter was a key tool serving 6 campus locations. Some critics scoffed, pointing out the hypocrisy. Hilliard was reportedly a millionaire with a luxurious compound and yet soliciting small donations from struggling congregants to fund personal aircraft maintenance. One forum post described with disgust how he held a birthday registry listing designer gifts and vehicles, lived on a 24-acre parsonage with multiple homes and a private lake, and then asked followers to pony up $52 for a helicopter tune-up. Ministry Watch listed his 24-acre estate as a $15 million property used as a parsonage, complete with 6 houses, resort-style pools, barns, a home theater, and a private airstrip. Despite the tax exemption status, few are convinced the scale of his holdings responsibly mirrored the needs of his mostly working-class donors. Hilliard defended the fundraising letter, saying it was directed only at special partners familiar with kingdom-giving principles and that no guarantees of car gifts were promised. He emphasized the aviation department's purpose for ministry outreach, insisting donors should simply discard the letter if uninterested. Still, the optics are striking. A pastor supervising a multi-million-dollar estate and helicopter fleet, publicly appealing for fixed-sum gifts from congregants to maintain luxury equipment. One commentator summed it bluntly. He asked people who couldn't afford car repairs to pay $52 while his own family lived tax-free on an opulent estate. Another noted that the helicopter alone would carry 7 figures in value. Yet the pitch was framed as a kingdom calling for the vulnerable. Number 1. Prophet Ed Branson, Zimbabwe. Prophet Ed Branson, born Edwin Mutongwizo in Harare, Zimbabwe in 1988, is the founder of Jesus Generation International Ministries. He has carved out a global presence with branches in South Africa, the UK, India, and Australia. While his ministry touts accurate prophecies and humanitarian projects, the flashes that dominate headlines are his luxury lifestyle and high-end possessions. In recent years, Branson has become synonymous with affluence. Social media reels and viral TikToks routinely show him in convoys of luxury vehicles, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, high-end SUVs, cruising through the streets of Harare and other African capitals. One video tagged #Zimillionaires boasts of a multi-million-dollar car collection that many describe as bling preacher status. A post on the Herald magazine openly referred to African preachers living on lavish lifestyles as blessed beyond belief, clearly nodding at Branson's public image. Branson's followers don't see cars, they see divine favor on wheels. He's frequently photographed stepping out in designer ensembles beside armored SUVs, accompanied by entourages. His lifestyle isn't discreet, it's a broadcast. The message beneath the gloss is consistent. Wealth is spiritual affirmation. Critics argue it's spiritual commerce in overdrive, but to fans, it's modern miracles manifesting in real time. Despite widespread speculation of personal jet use, there is no confirmed evidence of him owning a private aircraft. Still, his frequent international appearances, hosted summits in London and South Africa, philanthropic trips, and high-profile conferences suggest travel often fits first-class or private standards. With a reported net worth in the millions, those experiences are entirely plausible. His ministry is tightly woven with branding. He wears labels that cost more than some of his congregants' yearly income. His sermons are interspersed with calls to invest, seed, and sow, often referencing wealth as reward for obedience. Critics have pointed out the ethical tension, extravagant vehicles, and glamorous living tone-deaf when preached over communities with economic hardship. Still, followers praise him for generosity, charitable works, prophetic outreach, and programs like distributing aid in slums give his critics pause, some balanced by stories of expensive car gifts to church members and celebrities. In one widely circulated photo, a controversial businessman gifted Branson's wife R1 million, vivid proof his world is one of privilege and showmanship. So now that you've seen the 10 black pastors who turned pulpits into private hangars and pews into profit funnels, what do you think? Is prosperity preaching a divine blessing or just business in robes? Would you ever sow a seed into a pastor's next luxury SUV? Or does all this make you rethink where faith ends and flex begins? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that peel back the curtain on power, money, and the truth behind the gospel gold rush.